Look at these three handsome blokes, eh? Don't get better than that for eye candy. Hey?
What a pleasure, man.
With Jungaji and Greg Dodge, and Jungaji is a great artist who's just doing some amazing things and got some great music around the place, and he's been doing it for a long time. Dodgy's working with Jungaji and managing him, and I spoke to Greg the other week, and we sort of went over some of his background. But how's it going, boys?
Very good, man. Busy times, man. Busy times. This old manager of mine is keeping me on my toes, but that's why he gets paid the big percent, the 20% commission. He works hard for it. I tell you, good way.
Yeah, get the blood out of him. Get the blood out of him.
100%.
Yeah. So, mate, were you just over on one of the islands recently? Greg was saying.
So I was over there, not under a music capacity, creative capacity, but I was more over there as a cultural advisor / mentor. We took over 2 teams of young Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander rugby league players.
So which island?
So we were there in Apia, the main island, but also Sapia, I think, the other island.
In Samoa.
In Samoa, yeah. Yeah, in Samoa, yeah. So we were there 2 weeks. The girls were getting a bit homesick halfway through and stuff because, they haven't been out of the country for forever, let alone their communities. Yeah. But other than that, they played well. They represented their communities and their families well. And I was just proud to be invited to be a part of that, that initial, first trip to Samoa.
Fantastic.
Just planting seeds for future generations up. That's what we're trying to do.
So, mate, do you do a lot of that mentoring stuff?
Yeah, within, the school environments, I'm talking to a lot of, how would you say it, Dodgy? Like within government stuff, I'm kind of just doing cultural sharings within those environments too. So wherever I can share a bit of testimony and fellowship around the journey from, woe to hoe. And he's kind of got me out there just on the hustle, but getting me into these lovely spaces that I'm just like, wow, I can't believe that I'm here, Yeah,
no, that's great.
He just did 7 weeks at Bracken Ridge Neighbourhood Centre, 7 weeks at Sherwood, 6 weeks in at West End at Kurilpa.
Yeah, that's right.
Boundary Road, Boundary Street. He's going off to Wollongong with Dr. Shelley Morris from up in Northern Territory.
Yep.
And they're doing 10 days down in Wollongong with the Southern Youth Family Services.
Good on
Indigenous and non-Indigenous. Stuff. So he's doing it plenty of workshops.
Yeah. I know you're saying that that wasn't like a music focused thing, but does your music play a big role in connecting to the kids?
Oh, absolutely. Some of the kids, their parents were kind of, they followed, kind of us back in the formative days of Aim for War, and we can unpack that a bit further. And also, my historical, traditional connections to those communities like Cherbourg, Palm Island, Yarrabah, Woorabinda, where all my families are from, in addition to the Inalas and the Brisbane regions and stuff. That's how we connect. All you got to do is just say our last name. I'm like, hey, you've a relation for me, my niece, and then straight away, But no,
and Cape York.
Cape York, absolutely. Yeah, Cape Vale.
So, mate, we'll jump into some of your background a while ago, but just where you're up to now. I mean, so you've topped the ARIA charts in the indie section. Is that correct, Greg?
This year in June, Jungaji brother, he released his first debut album called Betting on Black, and we got a number 1 for the first week of charting, which was it blew us away. He got initial 4 to 6 chart rankings on the ARIA charts. There's different charts. He got points on all of those. So we did a lot of work. I mean, that was a lot of work to build it up. He did 3 shows that weekend. So they have a week to week, Thursday to Thursday, I think, isn't it? And they measure it. Yeah.
That's right, man. So, a lot of, as Dodgy said, just a lot of blood, sweat and toil went into not only resources, but time, balancing that time amongst family and stuff. But it certainly paid off, and, man, it's a pinch yourself moment when you've been on the hustle since 93 and you think to yourself, how is it to get within the radar of, the mainstream industry, and then all of a sudden you kind of stand in there just like, oh, so this is what it looks like,
Yeah. I mean, I'll put the links up here where people can go and listen to your stuff on Spotify and everything else. But definitely go check it out because, man, your voice is sounding so good. I was saying to Dodgy when we were chatting the other day, it like gives me these real R&B throwbacks, Marvin Gaye type feels, mate. It's just like sounding so nice.
Just a combination of everything that my father had played on the vinyls back when the
right.
80s. When I was just a small boy growing up in Anala, he played all them Deadly Old Manhattan, Stylistics, Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, and all Charlie Pride, Linkelbird, Undertake, you name it, man. Yeah, but all of that and above.
My Old Rooster, was that about him?
Old Rooster was about my father. So we lost him May the 1st last year. Yeah. And, I credit that man to so much of who I am today. Not so much all of who I am today, along with my dear mother, who's still present. She's still going strong. But, I just put paper to pen. I was watching, I think it was the Roosters versus my side. The Roosters was his side, and the Broncos is my side.
Yeah.
And I started just jotting down, their song then, and then, the next following week, I showed it to the band. They were like, oh, this is beautiful. They were all crying, That was such a beautiful tribute to a wonderful man.
Yeah, it's a great song, mate. And made a big Broncos week we've had.
Beautiful Broncos week. Anybody that knows me out there or follows me on my socials, I'm Broncos, man. So I'm just as passionate as creating and singing and stuff like that as I am about my Broncos. Man.
Yeah, that's a big one. Mate, obviously I grew up with the Bronx as well, but I probably lean a bit more to the Dolphins these days because we're out Redcliffe. But the good thing about Queenslanders is if the Dolphins aren't playing, you're there for the Bronx. If the Bronx aren't playing, you're there for the Cowboys. Not there if the Cowboys aren't playing, you're there for the Gold Coast. It's like, we'll flip across these teams to support Queenslanders.
Finals and stuff. If my Broncos aren't there and the Dolphins are there, they're Fins. I'm Fins up, mate, all the way.
That's it. Yeah, I'm the same way. But they're amazing. So, mate, all you're writing now, back in Aim for More was what, 93, 94, around that time?
93, yep. And I'd met Dodgy, I think 94, 95.
Right.
Now, it would have been just before Michael Tuini, so that would have been about, 95, I reckon, Dodge.
No, yeah, just a 94? Bit early. 94, 95, yeah.
94, 95. Yeah.
So was Aim for More your first band, or had you been doing stuff?
That was the first anything. I've never kind of performed before that, apart from one little gig that I did with Mop and the Dropouts. They're, legendary Aboriginal band here from Brisbane. Majority of them all followers are past now, apart from two of them that are still alive and well. But yeah, my father bought me a guitar, a microphone stand, and an amplifier. And I said to my dad, there's 10 of us in the family, to give some context to the viewers out there. And I said, Dad, who's that stuff there for? He said, that's for you. You never know how far you'll take it. I thought, damn, I'm flat out singing in front of you fellas. But, he must have seen something in me that, I obviously didn't see it myself because I was so mild and just so, shame, And I hate to use that word, but that was exactly what I was. Yeah, until I met the Aim for More boys back in 1993. And then it's kind of after I lost my sister, I kind of went wayward for a bit there. When I was doing a car accident in 1991 at Laura Dance Festival. And that's when Dad brought me that stuff after. And then I kind of just, found my way. But we were playing basketball one afternoon with the brothers at Anala High School. And then when we were coming back to my house, we were gymming downstairs at Mum's place, our place. And we just started singing in the still of the night, Boys to Men. It's an a cappella song. And that's how it all started, bro. Mum was like, hey, what do you fellas singing? And I was like, yeah. And around that old, nucleus, that old start, there's a, big theatre, production that, we're working on, Dozzy, that we're trying to get over the line through different companies around Australia. But that's another conversation together.
Mate, it's within culture, it's a big thing, I think, for a lot of people who kind of get a bit shy about standing out from the mob, and kind of it's a big step to take. And I know your family obviously supported you, but did you get that early support from the whole mob, or how was that journey?
I think because we were first doing what we're doing, the two Tosh-Ladona brothers, two Murray fellas, and it was just so organic and just so, I don't know, just beautifully come about that, that we started singing, in there in Anala first, and then they and Uncle Tiger Bales invited us into
radio station,
into the radio station at Rocklea there when it was what do you call it? 4AAA was there.
Yeah, before 98. Was he a
Yeah,
triple A?
we
Yeah.
thought we were rock stars. We thought we'd made it. Oh, look at us. We're just about to go and record it. We weren't writing. We were just going to go and record Bush to Men songs and other songs, you know.
Mhm.
And then we performed at the Natal that year, '93, in town at Musgrave Park. Oh, mate, we was like, oh, this is cool, you know.
Mate, the
And it was
great
beautiful.
Tiger,
Eh?
the great Tiger Bales, mate, bringing up his name, he
Of course,
affected so many people around town in such a positive way.
of
And he was always
course.
inspirational, always just encouraging everyone, and dealing the stuff he got to deal with out between the government and the music industry and everything. He covered a lot of territory.
That's
He left
right.
a
Well,
great
him and that,
legacy.
yeah,
And
and then
yeah.
Maureen Watson, his mother, did a lot for community too in terms of helping my mum and dad out when they come down from up north and stuff. So it's all, you know, just people helping peoples out around the time where they exempt from traveling when they got that exemption too. Travel mob just kind of all influxed on Brisbane area from Cherbourg and all the communities, and then you just had pivotal people like Nana Maureen Watson, like Kat,
But,
Drew New Knuckle,
but when you
grandfather
say
Don
exemption to
Brady.
travel, exemption to travel, were they not allowed to travel outside the community before then?
No. You had to get exemption from the Aboriginal Protector.
Oh,
You
really?
know, up until 1967. That's right. Yeah.
Gee, there you go, folks.
Oh. Yes,
Yeah, mate.
that all the black fellas that come down, all the Maoris that come down, even from Torres Strait, they'll come down to Brisbane and stuff. And they started having their own dances and stuff like that, and established their own churches and boxing gyms. My grandfather, Pastor Don Brady, was pivotal and spearheading all of that stuff too. So I always pay homage to them old fellas, not before my father's generation, but the fellas before.
Yep.
Who had to face that adversity tenfold. So when I'm singing, I kind of had them in the back of my mind too when I'm sharing, because it's about engaging, the broader audience as opposed to just my community audience.
And then the culture shock they must have gone through coming down from community to a place like Brisbane, a city like Brisbane, mate, must have been some adjusting. Be almost like coming from a foreign country, wouldn't it?
100%, 100%. So and then they slowly started to assimilate into mainstream society, and you know creating a wealth creation. They weren't. I think until the late '70s, mid '70s, they were allowed to purchase properties. But my grandfather, as I said, he saw, he was a visionary amongst many others. He drew Knuckle and so many other deadly people. Stevie Mann, brother Stevie Mann, Dodgy, his father. I live in his here in Zilmere. Just so many deadly old people that have paved the way for us to prosper today, and to share our culture and our stories.
Well, mate, the way you're sharing it in your songs these days is amazing. And I'm not a big one for labelling artists like Indigenous artists or this or like that, because you're a great R&B Australian artist worldwide or whatever your heritage is. But the heritage comes through your message in your song. As soon as people hear that, that's where it is. You don't have to label it. It's like it's there. It's all written in everything that you've done. And I just think you're doing a great job with that, mate. And it's going to go really exciting to see you.
I see myself as a just proud Aboriginal Australian artist.
Yeah.
But also and as you said, at R&B/soul, that there in itself. Then the music with this new album that's coming out next year, the TLY, speaks volumes for itself. So I'm excited about obviously talking to that a little bit more later, but so many beautiful things are on the boil and that are just simmering away, just baking nicely in the oven, and just we're not in no rush to put it out there, Dodgy. Maybe you can speak a bit more, but we're just letting it just bake appropriately and not putting it out prematurely, but when it's absolutely perfect. And right, put the glitter on top, all the flour and stuff like that, and it's like, bang, have a taste of that.
Yeah, mate, I was playing around the scene when Aim for More were around, and we'd always be hearing about what you guys are doing and the great sounds you're putting out. It was really good. And you've been off the scene for quite a while, as far as I'm aware. What's sort of happened after Aim for More?
Aim for More, I kind of worked in community. So I was working at Anala. There was an organisation called Anala Murray 8, and I kind of assisted in servicing the watch houses from Ipswich, the corridor down to Beenleigh. Anala included Woodridge there, just checking on, First Nations people who are incarcerated as a spin-off to the Royal Commission into Aboriginal Deaths and Custodies. So that was back in 2000, and I worked in prisons at I think it was Sir David Longlands. It's now Prison City. What do you call it? Prison now. And also Wally World down the back there. But yeah, different things. Youth detention. And I was kind of just simmering on the side, and I was also on a show. My missus put me on this bloody show. My missus at the time, Pop Stars. That's when everything was kind of just stable and idle, and I was kind of, we just bought a house. I was working, living the dream,
Yep.
And then my missus said, "You need to come in town." I was like, "What, Trev? I'm working. I'm working at Nalia." She said, "No, you need to talk to Auntie Sandra, who was my boss. She passed now. You need to talk to her. You need to get her to let you go and come in here because I'm at the front of the line, pop stars, I'm just about to go in 20 minutes. If you get in there, you can come straight in and not wait." And I ended up making it to the grand final, but I met a lot of, beautiful people throughout that. And am I ashamed, with the things that I've done? I was like, no, these are things that have kind of evolved me into.
What was it? Was it a TV show or something? Or
it was pop stars. I think it was the year before Guy Sebastian come, and
right?
Then,
Okay.
Jessica Malboys and the Casey Donovans and all them young ones come after and stuff. So
right,
yeah, I got to the, I got to the grand final. We sat in this big house in Hunters Hill there, and it was a learning experience because what does he call it? About 2 weeks after I was ejected from the house, I was standing in line at the Centrelink there, and everyone's asking for my autograph. I'm like, "Fuck, man, I'm trying to give money." But that's the reality of them shows, bro. 10 other musicians out there. Be careful when you go on them shows because it's short lived unless you got a good people
absolutely.
behind you.
Can I just do a manager's thing and interrupt 2 secs? So he was in Aim for More for about 5 years or a little bit longer. And then he did go into some bands called Banner Warren. And Troy and Trevelyan, his wife and he had a band. You forgot about those periods as well.
I was going to touch on that, but thanks for reminding me.
Good, yeah. And so he was doing the work, but also doing the bands, and he had a big, strong thing. I had connected with him in 94, 95 because he had a manager for Aim for More called Garth Terrere, bless him, and Garth asked if I'd come out and talk to these young fellas about the music business in around 94, 95, when I had the shop in the Valley. And, I met them and I kept saying to them, first thing, and Jungaji will tell you now, I nagged them and said, write your own songs. Boys, write your songs. But at 17 and 18, you can't hear that, particularly when you're out singing songs and getting reactions like they were. They were getting good reactions from their mob and their community, but they went and did some work with Michael Flanders and a couple of others, did some studio work. They'd never released anything officially. That was going to be their first CD, their first album at the time, I believe. But you know what? He's never played it to me.
You've never heard that album?
I've never heard it.
Oh, God, I got to get to it, man. There's somewhere here in the box downstairs in the back of Whoop there.
So we relived the dream 2 years ago in 2023 at Judith Wright. We put the old Aim for More, the original 4 members together. And this is before Jungaji sort of really got steaming. We were starting to record Betting on Black, but we knew we had to do this reunion. So it was the 30th year reunion in 2023.
That's correct.
And the 4 of them worked their tails off, no joke, because they're all in their late 40s. And I've never seen a bunch of boys dedicated for 8 weeks, I reckon, every night.
Every night.
They had a beautiful lady called Bessie and her husband, Michael. Yeah, and they were choreographs, but they were like gym masters, Get down, 10 push-ups, boys, you've made an error. Come on. And they really worked tough, and it was great. But Jungaji said, look, we could go and do this, but I really want to do my stuff. I really want to get these songs out to the world. And I think he's just been writing so much, and he's put a great band together, and, this is where we are today,
Here we are today, Nick.
Mate, that first CD, did Flanders do many of the tracks for you?
No. We were kind of
Gary Smith.
You're jogging my memory now. So it's Gary Smith, Sweet 16. They're at
Paddington.
Milton there. But just beyond the Bury there. There. Yeah. So you're jogging my memory here, big time, right? But big shout out to all those guys. Mick Flanders, I haven't seen him for donkeys too, but big shout out to him.
He's been back in Nashville now. He's just over here recently. His dad passed and he came back for the funeral. But we
bless his heart.
Because I came back from Los Angeles in 94. And that was when I first met Mick. He was working at a booking agency then, and he booked me into some stuff. And we ended up doing a lot of work together over the years. But mate, I was doing well. Yeah, we'll go back to those days. Jason Milhouse, I don't know if you know Jace, but Jace did a lot of engineering with Mick. And Mate, great studio guys. So,
yeah.
mate, you're writing. Are you mainly writing from guitar or keyboard, or what do you write from?
Excuse me, from the guitar at home and stuff. And what I do is I just have sharings and have offerings to the band when I do see them to say, listen, I've been working on this. I created 2 beautiful tracks this last 2 weeks, and I had the luxury of doing that at with Cody McWaters at Hunting Ground Studios and stuff, and so I just showed the band, showed the guys and stuff, and they trust my intuition creatively, and they're like, yep, let's put it down and we'll just flesh it out. So I'll give them the opportunity to assist in fleshing it out stuff, and and that's kind of been the process from woe to hoe with the Betting on Black album in the infancy embryonic stages, but also with this new album, Key of Life, and with Dodgy in the background. He's honest with his critique too.
Yeah.
But I always say to him, brother, that things are not perfect. That's not going to be perfect. It's only the first draft, brother. Just wait. just trust me. Trust me.
And often perfection often too is relevant on the listener, because you can do a track and it's right, and you can spend forever trying to change it, but it was right at that point there. You've got to know when to cut that line as well and say, no, it's there. Everything we do from here is just going to take it somewhere maybe we don't need to go because the song's there, It's finding
Absolutely.
that.
And if I get a mental, blockage, I just jump on another song. I just jump on my painting, which I'm sitting at now. So I've got different little avenues where I'm just like, oh, you know what? Let me just jump back on this other song, see if I can squeeze it out. I've been listening to just more brand new tunes just on Spotify, just different things to entice my ear. And I'm just like, oh, wow, this sounds bloody amazing. And that's the beauty of being able to create, is to also listen to others that are within the same sphere. And it's like, oh, man, I'm just so inspired for what that woman just said or how she delivered that on stage, on YouTube and stuff. So, yeah, just different things that inspire me, apart from all those beautiful artists back in the day. But there's so much beautiful music that is out there today.
Absolutely. The hard point about today is there's so much coming out every day that it's great. Like, it was kind of like we used to get to sit with an album for maybe a few months, and that would you get to know that track. Now there's like so many hundreds of thousands of songs being released every day, and actually how our songs stay around and you get to know them as a community is harder and harder. But I think what you guys are showing, and I spoke to Dodgy a fair bit about what you've been learning. He's been learning as an indie artist manager and everything else. There are ways to get it out there, and it's not easy. It's as hard as it ever was, but there are ways to do it, and got a good feeling you guys are really on the right track. So,
I think with Dodgy and the big, heads, kudos to him, in terms of if he doesn't know something, he'll own it. He's like, well, I don't necessarily know how to translate that or make that happen. Why don't we ask this person here? And we have a resource, a beautiful village of peoples that are, kind of on board, and believe in what we're trying to achieve, not only for now, but for the 10-year/50-year plan, long after we're gone. So I'm in a thing now where I just want to create as much as I can. I'm already in 2027 thinking what this album with a whole heap of female artists out in 2027. So my mind is there right now. That's what I'm thinking as I'm talking to you fellas. This next album is already sorted. I've got the EP coming out tomorrow, coming down, for until February. And then I've got the theatre production that's in, I've gone up to Cairns for, we've got that, what do you call it?
Savannah and the Rand.
Savannah and around on Sunday, and I got a week off, which I can just sit up there in the rainforest and just create, sit by a fire, and that's my idea of heaven. Being around family up there and just creating.
I mean, you're talking about having the people around you that sort of, share the blessings and share the work and share the love around it. I think that's one reason why a lot of musicians are attracted so much to like the sport, rugby league, whatever it is, because we tend to. Well, from my position anyway, I was never good at the corporate business side. I was always, and I did some stuff in China. I had to work with some corporate people through that time, and a lot of nice people. But what I saw in the corporate world a lot it was about how do you get ahead of this person? How do you sort of knock that company down so you can get this position over here? As a band, as a musician, it's always felt more like a band. That how do we do this together? How do we get this, make this work? And the success comes from that. Well, that just comes. We don't really know how that happens, but it's more about being a band or a team together and supporting each other rather than trying to step on each other.
Yeah, and that's what I try and create within the ecosystem that I'm trying to establish. Alongside Dodgy, we've got another deadly fellow in the bill, Jamari. He's a beautiful, beautiful brother from Morocco.
Shout out to Noble.
yeah. Big shout out to Noble and just some deadly people, Deb Sharpman, Deb Gann, publicists, a lot of good people that are out there that are there supporting the middle-aged artists and stuff. Try and find his feet within the industry where it's kind of catered to the younger generation. And I don't mind that. My son, he's within that framework.
Yeah.
He's within, that demographic and stuff. But I'm like, well, hang it, you got a man that's got all of this experience over here, who's lived, all of that, two strokes, two heart attacks, all these health issues, everything else, like, gambling issues, everything you can imagine. I've been there. I walked in that belly to come out the other side as a sober man, 8 years now, to celebrate that, but to also be, creating just so much. It's just like, hey, I over here, haven't listened to this or come and see the gigs and stuff like that. So,
And mate, some of
yeah,
those
mate,
other artists, are they going to come through your label at all?
absolutely. Well, that's also a work in progress too. And I think we've been so focused on these albums and these EPs that we need to put collectively our minds together and think about what that A&R publishing, all of that type of stuff. They get grassroots community, not even community, just talented musicians, no matter whether they're from India or wherever.
Yep.
Good musicians that enticed me, my soul, and that I just have a good group of people around me to identify and enhance that as much as I can down the track.
Yeah. Now, don't forget my wires crossed, but was that, Dodgy, was that one of the things you encouraged him to do, was to start his own label?
So when his dad passed and he painted a painting, which is a rooster that represents the symbolic thing of his dad. And I said to him, you've written the song, you've done the art. I reckon that's the name of your record label. So we registered Old Rooster Records.
Oh, cool.
We put the album out under Old Rooster Records. So we've set it up. And the intention, once Jungaji gets his sort of body of works out, like he's got one album, he's got a second one almost finished for next year. So that won't come out till probably June, July, but he's almost finished it.
Yeah.
And while that's going on in the studio, he's releasing this 6-track EP that he recorded down in Melbourne in February, and this is the Avery Studios acoustic sessions. So it'll be 5 songs, his cover versions of acoustic, just using Fender Rhodes acoustic guitar, but 5 vocals, and it sounds amazing. And congas. So that's released tomorrow, and that'll keep going until March.
Yeah,
so
man.
that'll fill the gap between now, from the first album. It stitches together the second album, because the last song that he releases in February, March is a song called To Be Kings.
Yep.
But he'll actually release the acoustic version, but on the album will be the full-blown version, which he's collaborating with
Malpower. So there's
Malpower.
the 15 tracks, Brother Nick, is that there's all going to be different artists.
Right.
On those albums. So we've got a country, Uncle Roger Knox.
Yep.
Got Uncle Roger there. I've written a beautiful country track where I think he'd be perfect on. So I'll leave a verse and some other things for him to just, put his beautiful magic on there. Yeah, and then that's the same with all the other artists, just inviting them on. We've got soul singers, we have rappers, we have MCs, just so much diversity. So I'm proud of this. I'm so immersed and fully engaged within this album. And, we just got to pinch yourself to say, hey, we just released, the Betting on Black album, which was quite successful 4 months ago, So people are still talking about it. I'm just like, oh, but you got to hear, but, I just got to take it easy and just let it simmer. Let it just,
But we're doing a bit of an experiment. You were talking about the label. So Jungaji has connected with, and obviously his son, because his wife, Trevelyan, Zimbabwean. So Dean's Aboriginal Zimbabwean, and there's a lot of African links around Jungaji. We've brought on or found Nabil, who's Moroccan from North Africa, and he works around the Western Africa, South Africa communities. And so we're putting on a trial night in December the 4th at Maruka, where we've got 9 guests, and some of them are young Sudanese singers. We've got non-Indigenous, so we've got Australians, we've got Maoris, we've got Indonesian, Malaysian. We would have had an Indian lady, but she couldn't do it this night. And our idea there is Jungaji and Friends, it's called. And then the title of one of his songs off the album, which is called Kaukua. So
Mm.
the evening's called Kalkur, Jungaji and Friends, about 9 artists, and they're going to perform 3 45-minute sets, but not, oh, this is such and such is going to do 3 songs. It's like Jungaji will perform, he'll introduce someone else on stage with him, and it's a real intimate night. We're going to trial this as an experiment. And a lot of these people are under our watchful eye that they could be potentially young people that we can develop into
Absolutely.
2026, 2027, because, you know, the timelines, Jungaji and I have only been working together 3 years in this role,
Yep.
and it's taken us 3 years. It took us 3 years literally to get the album up, because you've got to find the resources, you've got to find the producer, you've got to find,
But
you
I,
know,
but I think
all those
that's one thing
relationships.
that we had ascertained over that period of time, as as it's been short, but it's been a beautiful kind of process in terms of knowing who the people, people that record and people that do video footage, people that do funding submission, people that take photographs. We got all them people within the village now.
Yep. Mate,
We
it's
know all
interesting.
the peoples.
It's interesting that you mentioned about the African connections here, mate, because that's an ingredient. Join the dots for me. There's some of your songs there. You get some of those really funky breakdowns with unique time signature changes happening, mate. And you hear a lot of that in the African feels. Did you draw on those in some of your production?
Now, to be honest with you, bro, I can't say that I did. As much as my ex-wife is from Zimbabwe, went over there a couple of times and stuff like that. But I just, as I said, I take my offerings to the band in the skeletal forms, and we kind of develop it from there. So I can't take all the credit for that, to be honest.
Some great breakdown changes there, mate. Some great changes. It's really nice.
You wait until you hear the Tea of Life stuff, man. That's all I'm going to say.
Unfortunate. Hey, Dodgy, before I forget to, mate, when we finish this, can you send me through links of where you want people to go to see these tracks tomorrow and upcoming places? So if you want people to certain points at places that give you the most benefits. So let me know what you want, and I'll edit them in. So just bring that up there. Mate, Jungaji, mate, we'd have to go into too much, and I don't want you dragging down that road, but you're saying you had a bit of some rough journeys as well along the way with health and a few other things. You obviously beat the demons and came out of it the right way. Is there anything you want to say that you learned going through that time of life?
I called the process to be humbled, Going into hospital 2020, I was 83, 85 kilos, and I walked out at 56 kilos.
Wow.
So, and what I've seen, within and how you process, phenomenology, the spirit world, and what I seen when I was I went down 7 times, and I'm reminded every day when I look in the mirror, and that's where the album Betting on Black was born. And, the name, I went in as Troy Brady, and I walked out as Jungaji. I was like, this is it now more than ever. If I get out of here, so I didn't even say that, when I get out of here, I'm walking out as Jungaji, and I haven't turned back, so I count my blessings, that I'm still
was Jungaji an original traditional name that you already had, or was it something you adopted at that time?
No. It was a name that my uncle, so I reconnected with him back in 2006. And it was all based around a cup of tea that at his place when I was 14 years of age, this old Googie Ellington man had made for me. My father was sitting at the table, my brother was there, and I thought the old man was making it for my dad or my brother, my big brother, but he was making a tea for me. And my muka, Uncle Kwanji, said to me, he said, no, muka, nephew, he made that tea for you. And that's what this album is based on. That ceremony, that legacy, and that symbol of sharing and passing on what that old man knew. He was born in the wild times.
He was 104
years of age to meet me. And I got beautiful photos of that deadly old man. I thought the Shaq and Michael Jordan were huge. He has a 14-year-old. I idolized all the Americana. But I saw that man in the flesh, and he's talking this language. It's like Jadamata, like lightning that struck me. And it's those same teachings that, it's my interpretation of those teachings that I share today through my music, through my stories. And that's got me sober as a sober man to overcome, divorce, to overcome gambling addiction, to overcome, drinking, grog problems, and, to be standing here and having these conversations about, just being present and being grateful.
That's the thing, mate. I think a lot of people will have the stories that, we all know how fun it is to ride the wave, but that's not kind of what really makes a strength in life. It's when you're getting off that ground and dragging yourself up for the 40th time of being knocked down. That's the things that kind of build up.
If you don't wake up and hear the call and, stand on your higher ground. I mean, I got my 2 the grandsons who keep me in absolute perspective, man. Everything that I do, they are at the they are the light at the end of the tunnel. Beside my son Dean and what he's doing, but them babies, them boys, them big boys, 6 and 7, you know, they're their father's child. Like, I'm not going to, pack too far into, mental health and suicide and stuff. But that has affected me personally through my late son. We lost him when he was 21 in 2021, and it's something that you just got to navigate. There's no what ifs or whatever like that. It's just like, wow, okay, I can't believe that this has happened to me. When you see it so profound in community, you think to yourself, damn, I don't ever want to feel like that, what that's like. But then when it happens, it's just like, wow, but I'm still here, and I shared that for his legacy and his beautiful spirit, and them boys are within him,
Yeah, mate. Well, thanks for sharing that. I don't want to
Oh, you're right.
drag that too much, mate, but because it's a time of celebration with what you guys are doing, and
Yeah, man.
and nothing better celebrating through music. That's been my life forever, and always will be. And I was never smart enough to figure out what else to do, so I'm sort of be doing this till I drop. But
Me too now.
yeah, but yeah, it's funny. They talk about Dodgy. Tells people a while ago he was retiring. Yeah, right. Dodge will never retire.
You're gonna say, yeah, you're gonna ride off into the sunset. I think I give him five or so years, Dodge. We'll see.
We'll see.
Right off into the sunset.
The Olympics are 7 years away, and we want to go beyond that, don't we?
Where Jules is he listening?
Yeah.
I'm only joking.
Now, mate,
But,
from the artist's perspective, if people get to watch this and they hear what you're talking about and they want to go and check out your songs if you were to prioritize for a new listener what song they should listen to yours first, and maybe list 3 or 4 songs to go on a journey, what would be the songs you'd list?
Man, geez. As in from top to bottom, I can't even, man, Betting on Black.
Just
I'll
a new person.
have my saying as well.
Okay.
You go first.
Now you go for it. Give me some idea.
Well, I mean, the title track is called Betting on Black.
Yeah.
And that is a great song in itself. Old Rooster is definitely a timeless song. It could have been born in the 80s or 90s, probably in the 90s, and it would have been a hit. I think it's a hit now as an independent. It just doesn't get the radio play, but it deserves. But it's definitely, one chap came out of the album launch who I respect. He's a high-level sort of person within the industry, and he said to me, I know what song's the number one fucking song. I said, all right, what is it? He goes, Old Rooster, that's a ripper.
Yeah.
And, we probably could have called the album Old Rooster, but the album was decided before Old Rooster was born. Betting on Black was...
I think Betting on Black has... Old Rooster's an easy story to tell insofar as it connects to your dad, and people know how that feels. Betting on Black touches into your own personal journey, I think, a lot more coming out of everything you went through. And it also, when you hear that song, as I say, it's got such great groove to it. And the film clip's great, man. The film clip works so well. And I think that's a great song. What was the song? I forgot the name, forgive me. The one for your auntie? For the auntie?
Mission Street.
Mission.
Yeah. So
Another
these
great song.
songs, I've lived these songs. And I've confronted, and it was fortuitous. Like, I didn't choose to be within these different, landscapes. But I'm just like, fuck, man, how did I end up here?
Yeah.
But it's just like, no, you were meant to be walking this road. So you just be strong for your family, for your tribe. With son Juki, with Auntie Sherry, with my father last year, that was a harrowing watch to watch such a strong man just fold away just like that in front of our eyes. Yeah. And there's so many learnings out of that. And Betting on Black is not a landscape that's just about black fellas. It's everyone's story. And I try to tell people out there, no, this is your story. Betting on Black is only a metaphor for hope. That's what this Betting on Black album is about. It's about hope and appreciating your family, because there were only one people that I wanted around me when I was on deathbed, and they were all crying around, the priest coming to pray for me was my family. I just wanted my family. And that's COVID time too.
Yeah, man, that's what I was getting at. That's what I was getting at a little bit before when I was talking about labeling it as Indigenous music, because you look at like the black blues artists and the R&B artists from America, right? They even though they were singing about their experiences and their culture, their songs had relevance for the world. They had relevance for different races. I
Yes.
do get annoyed sometimes when I talk to people who are non-Indigenous. This isn't a racist thing. It's just when something gets labelled here as an Indigenous thing, a lot of people put it immediately in the box before they actually listen to it, and they think it's going to tell that story. It's just going to be about that. But mate, you're, as I said, calling you, as Australian Indigenous artist. But to me, you're a great performer and a great songwriter. First thing, and then you've got these other tales to you underneath that, and they come through your songs. You don't have to be out there preaching that this is an Indigenous story. You're telling it's your story, Indigenous, everything, and that it's so relevant. As you say, it's not just for Indigenous people. Like the Black Americans music wasn't just for Black America; it's for the whole listening world.
Look at My Girl, look at the Temptations, look at the Platters. Those transcended. Even today, people still listen to them songs.
Yep.
Peaches and Herb,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those other songs, by the way, that are really worth mentioning is Gummy Bummerer, which is a song about his grandson. Sorry, Gummy Bummerer is a grandson story, Aboriginal story. Gummy, the grandsons.
That's right. Gummy
Bummerer is Aboriginal story. That won a World Music Award, this year at the Queensland Music Awards. And I had one of Jungaji's community rang me and he said, I'm disappointed he didn't win the Indigenous Award. And I said, but it's okay.
We weren't disappointed.
No, we weren't disappointed at all. We were happy. World music is an honour because, it's a terrible name to call it, but in a way, outside of Australia, it is world music. It's language. It's one of the lost languages that he's bringing alive, and it's a story, a very real story. So Gummy is a powerful, emotive story. When people hear that song, they cry. Generally, the room will cry, and you don't know what the words are about because of the way it's written. And the other one, of course, is Kalkua, that he sings with his own son, Dean Brady. And that video clip is beautiful, where they just come out of the studio together to meet each other and they give each other a hug. They go into the studio and they stand across from each other. And, there's true love there. They've been performing that for nearly 10 years. So, the beauty is when we decided we were going to record Kalkua, I said to Jungaji, have you asked Dean yet? And he said, oh, no, hang on, I'll get him. Dean, come upstairs. Dodgy wants to talk to you. And I said, no, you ask him. He goes, Dean, we wondered if you'd like to sing Kalkua in the album. He goes, Dad, I thought you were never going to ask.
I'll be honest, Dad, yeah. And I think it was just a given. It was just a given, and that's the key that old man had passed to me, and that's being passed down the line to the grandsons. They when they see me singing at Powerhouse, they were just looking, and I could see them in the crowd, and they were like, what do you call it? Just a shining light, man, just a shining light. Just looking at them, just thinking to myself, wow, what it is for them to be seeing, because they have so many things about their dad. I'm just like, no, when you miss your dad, you come to me, and I'll do the same. When I'm missing your dad, I'm going to look for you, my babies, But when they were looking at me on stage, then they were just like, wow, look at our granddad, look at our Gummy, That's what makes it all worth it for me.
That's brilliant, mate. That's brilliant. Hey, so the song that's dropping tomorrow, what is it again? What's that one?
So the song's titled Sun, Moon and Stars. It's an acoustic version of a song off the Betting on Black album. Beautifully edited, mastered, mixed. But it's raw, it's real, and it's from the heart, and it's about love. It's about love and how we hold on to love within life,
Really looking forward to catching it, and so we'll put all those links up. Guys, Dodgy, is there anything else we should cover that we haven't covered here? Or obviously, as your journey goes on, mate, if I can get you back for more chats regularly, just to talk about what you're doing, what you got coming around the corner, please let me know. I'd love to have regular chats if that was okay.
And I love this three-way conversation. It'd be good to have Bill have it from East Coast, as a migrant here in this country, and he's just a ball of energy, man. So awesome. I don't know, maybe next time.
Yep, that's great.
He is a good man, and the thing is, I was going to say the actual album Tea of Life, from all the stories you're hearing from Jungaji, is an extension of Betting on Black.
That's right.
It's still carrying that initiation process of the Tea of Life. And it's celebrating fatherhood and addressing issues around men's mental health and well-being.
That's right.
So it's all males, not because we're trying to, just distance ourselves from the female, because as Jungaji said earlier, the third album is already dreaming that up, and that's full of women.
Yep.
Now, the ladies are featuring heavily in the show in December. You know, there's a lot of young and older women in the show.
And I'll be
they are
networking
so
tonight
talented.
at the almost what do you call it? The
He's going to the Australian Women's Music Awards tonight.
I got a ticket tonight. Yeah, so I'll be networking there too tonight. No doubt with the sisters.
I mean, he's a single man. Remember that?
Yeah, be careful now.
No, but it's everything is sort of going to plan, and if everything goes well, Betting on Black will have a second run when the musical theatre show comes out. He's already done the reading with QPAC and 10 actors.
10 actors. It was beautiful, man. So emotional.
So we're just trying to bring all the right people together to help us, because we don't know theatre. He's a playwright, but this is his first serious play, and it's about his life journey to inspire others, you know, to, as he said, hope, resilience, strength, all of that. It's just, and love, you know. So the album will get a second surge, I think, when we produce that in theatre or on film, if it gets uptake. You know, that first album won't get lost. So Sun, Moon and Stars, for example, that just came out when we released the album. So we didn't really give it a push. We didn't push it. It just came out with the album with Mission Street and Adore, I think it was. A couple of songs that had just sort of creeped out.
And I just want to reiterate that there's no roadmap to any of the artists out there.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of just continuing to, you know, build trust within the team that you got. And, you know, as a creator, just keep on creating. Just keep on. Here's me. I got my painting, you know. And when I haven't got my guitar, which is just over there, I'll come out here and I'll paint.
Yeah. You got to believe in yourself too. That's the thing, you know. It's
you have to. And don't expect things to just happen straight away. You got to earn the earn the work. You know?
Mate, I have been wrapping these things up by asking people to give their little elevator pitch on if they're going to tell the world their message to the world in a few sentences. I think you just pretty much did that, mate.
Just be honest within yourself. Be honest with that person in the mirror, you know, and bet on that person, because nobody else is going to do that. Yep. You know, everybody's kind of just watching from the sideline to see what you're going to do. It's just like, no, I'm betting on me, you know, and that you can trust within yourself and, you know, make it truthful. Because people will buy into that when you're out there. As Dodgy said, when I was singing in my language, people are crying. We don't understand a word you're saying, but man, Marty, we were crying. I said, thank you. And that's what this is all about, you know?
Yeah. All right, guys, thank you for this. All the best for tomorrow. Great talking to you all. So, Jungaji, Greg Dodge, great to talk to you guys. Talk again soon.
Absolutely pleasure.
Thanks,
Thanks, Greg. Cheers, guys.